on UI7 News, we speak with a student organization that offers aid to sexual assault survivors.
And local food vendors battle it out over city regulations.
Then, a decade-old debate blazes on as a pro-Chief group continues to advocate for the Chiefs' presence at tonight's game.
UI7 News starts right now.
From the Richmond Journalism Teaching Studio at the University of Illinois campus, UI7 News, your U of I news source.
Hello, I'm Sarah Olin.
And I'm Patrick Lee, and welcome to our 5:30 edition of UI7 News.
Up first, Friday is the last day of negotiations between the university and the Graduate Employees Organization, or GEO. Before the latter goes on strike this Monday, Cole Henke has more on what is going to happen.
University students might have a much lighter schedule next week. With the GEO strike imminent, teachers' assistants will have begun to cancel their classes in anticipation that the final day of negotiations will go nowhere. On Friday, there will be one final attempt to strike a deal.
If the strike does take place on Monday, the GEO might protest outside of Lincoln Hall as well as a few other buildings alongside Wright Street.
The GEO has reached out to professors that have classes in Lincoln Hall, asking them to cancel or move their classes out of support for the GEO. But even if they cancel their classes, teachers' assistants have plans to keep their students busy.
Day to day, mostly what it's going to look like, I'm going to try and put up as much stuff for my students to do as possible up on campus before the strike starts so that they can continue to learn, but I will not continue to go to class.
The negotiations are being held up on several key issues. According to David Horst Lehman, a GEO member, the university's proposals come up short compared to even the last agreement between the two parties.
I wouldn't necessarily say that the last deal was incredibly unfair. It could be better, but the administration's current offers are worse than the last deal.
Until Monday, GEO members are still at work, however, as the two parties' bargaining teams try to settle on an agreement. According to GEO member Yuki Takeuchi, she is hoping both sides value education enough to make the strike not happen.
And I'm hoping that administration will do something to avoid the strike, because GEO is not hoping to go on strike if possible.
Negotiations will not take place over the weekend, so if a middle ground is not reached tomorrow, the strike will take place, and it will only end once an agreement is reached. In Champaign, I am Cole Henke, UI7 News.
For a closer look on how one graduate student thinks she would be affected if the administration implements new terms for their employment, we turn to UI7 News' Marissa Sulik.
No, I only want my favorite side.
The Graduate Employees Organization held a picket practice last Thursday in preparation of the strike beginning on February 26th. Rezvan Shahoy is a picket captain from Iran who is dependent on the tuition waiver the university plans on discontinuing.
There's no way I could have come to grad school without the tuition waiver. And almost anyone I know, among my friends, they would not have been able to afford grad school without a tuition waiver.
Rezvan has been at the university for 8 years and teaches statistical mechanics. However, she has already informed and educated her students on the strike efforts. They support her decision and understand class will not be in session for the duration of the strike.
Every hour, the main quad contains heavy foot traffic as students make their way to classes. Starting next week, however, those students will be replaced with GEO members picketing outside these academic buildings.
I'm a graduating senior. I'm going to grad school to study physics, and I don't want this to happen to me or anybody else, so I'm in full support of the grad students.
Rezvan students understand the strike efforts will help them in the future if they decide to go to graduate school. She also puts a lot of trust and solidarity in her class, who has started a petition themselves to support the GEO members.
Strike is the last thing we want. We are here to do our research, to teach, and to learn. And the university administration has pushed us against the wall, and there are no options left for us.
For now, the GEO members can only hope an agreement will be reached. From Urbana, Marissa Sulik, UI7 News.
Tensions rise between local restaurants and food trucks over some rules being discussed by Champaign City Council. UI7's reporter Jessica Watson spoke to both sides.
Food trucks might be getting new regulations as restaurant owners continue to complain.
It could be disruptive to a business if you're selling a certain product and a truck parks right outside your front door selling exactly the same product. That would bother anybody. But we need to also recognize the fact that the streets belong to everybody and that the public largely loves food trucks and the atmosphere that they create.
Restaurants in Urbana's Gregory Strip have seen a decline in sales with the food trucks around Cranor. Places like the Bread Company and Marianne's have spoken to the mayor, but feels the city has not helped them out. They feel they pay business and property taxes to the city and yet are not getting the assistance they deserve. Subway in the Urbana Strip does not agree with the rest.
I think it should all go around, maybe if there's zoning spaces where they have to be so far from certain district areas of restaurants, that might be helpful, but I think it's fine.
Daniel Cross is the owner of Cracked the Egg Came First. His business began as a food truck and since has grown into a restaurant.
I hope the city can understand that food truck owners are really small business owners, and we don't make a lot of money. We work incredibly long hours, and that if they were to put laws in place after you make your food truck and have a business model laid out, you're really taking a business away from someone. Someone went out there, they dropped possibly $30,000 to $100,000 to start this operation, and then all of a sudden you kind of change the laws on us. You can kind of ruin someone's life like that.
The City Council sees both sides of the equation and hopes to make everyone happy. From UI7 News, I'm Jessica Watson.
And before the break, we have a quick update on the weather. Emma, what's it looking like today?
So the good news is that we won't be having any rain tonight. It's just going to be partly cloudy with temperatures around 45 degrees.
Well, hopefully we can keep that warm weather going into March. Thank you, Emma. Coming up after the break, we take a look at an event called Paint the Hall Chief and the controversy surrounding it at tonight's basketball game.
Later on, we will hear the voices of sexual... Stay tuned.
Everything starts out small. The things that hurt us, they all start from somewhere. The words we say, the things we do, they can grow into something else. What was small and innocent can become big and sometimes scary. All it takes is one comment, one picture, one video for something to catch fire. But a big problem doesn't need a big response. Not at first. Even if we don't know what to say, the eye emoji can be that first step we take. Let's all pledge to take that first small step together and change the world in a big way. I'm a witness, and so are you.
Bye-bye.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably gonna turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right?
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
So we were walking to school.
I started thinking about lunch. Mom packed me turkey and cheese.
She's
I really
smart.
want cheese pizza.
Sometimes her mind wanders.
We should have a sleepover.
I remember saying, Laura?
I think I heard Mom say something.
The sign says don't walk.
Sometimes it's so overwhelming.
I really hope she doesn't
I
have
really
another
hope
bad
we don't
day
have another bad day at school today.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. Go to understood.org, a free online resource with support and tools to help your child thrive.
Competing protests are expected tonight at the State Farm Center leading up to the last men's basketball game. Fans who are still calling for a return of the Chief are encouraging those in attendance to paint the Hall Chief by wearing Chief-related apparel. Breland Fay, one of the organizers, said she was inspired to create this event after seeing an elderly couple at an event wearing Chief paraphernalia. This sparked a counter-protest by fans who want to move past the chief as a symbol of Illinois athletics.
We're both wearing chief jackets, and I snapped a picture of them and put it on one of our pro-chief Facebook sites, and somebody recognized their family in there, and there's like, oh, so sweet and everything. And then this woman from the community said, you know, we should come out of the closet as chief supporters and all wear our chief gear to a game. And we're like, oh, well, we already do that. And they're like, well, we should all do it together at one game. Let's do it for the last game of the season. And then it just took off from there.
We attempted to check on whether security will be increased for tonight's game. University Police spokesman Patrick Wade said, "We work with State Farm Center to assess security concerns related to each game and make sure we have appropriate plans in place prior to each basketball game, and tomorrow is no exception." Although the game starts at 6 p.m., the two groups are expected to start gathering outside of the State Farm Center as early as 5 p.m.
As the supporters and opponents of the chief prepare to protest and counter-protest at tonight's men's basketball game, some students are left feeling unsure about how to approach the topic of or a symbol of the mascot. UI7 News' Ryan Wilson heard from students who expressed a general sense of discomfort when discussing Chief Illiniwek.
Now 11 years since his last dance, the topic of Chief Illiniwek has many individuals in and around the University of Illinois community uncomfortable. Some who favor the chief say he is continuing a long-loved tradition, while others find the symbol offensive and a mockery of Native American culture. Sharon Matthew is a senior psychology major. She feels it is time to move past the chief and start listening to other perspectives.
There's no like comprehensive let's take in everything that matter to every party here.
But even those words are challenging to utter for chief supporters and opponents of the chief. As the chief discussion continues, some people are afraid to say anything because of the reaction from others. Ross Wetland facilitated a workshop at the University YMCA to discuss ways to talk about the chief. He says people may be afraid to talk about the chief because they don't feel knowledgeable on the topic. As a result, he says some may feel paralyzed when encountering such a conversation, and they don't want to offend anyone. Lindsay Leiber, having friends and family favoring and against the chief, says she tries to listen to every perspective.
You may not have a personal experience with it, how it affects you, but there are people who it's their culture, and that really takes a toll on them.
Matthew echoes Waitland in regards to people's confidence about the chief. She has experienced situations when a conversation about the tradition, the dance, or anything related was completely avoided. But tonight, as the students prepare to paint the State Farm Center chief, a conversation will not be avoided. In Champaign, I'm Ryan Wilson, UI7 News.
Students are addressing another sensitive topic here on campus with the help of an organization known as Students Against Sexual Assault. UI7 News' Kelly Walker reports how students are sharing their stories to take a stand against sexual assault.
Survivors of sexual assault are coming forward to tell their stories of how something so tragic is happening right here on campus.
When I was new to this campus, I truly believed the statement, at Illinois, we care. But now I'm wondering, who do we care about at Illinois? Because I know that Illinois doesn't care about me. At Illinois, we care about the safety and comfort of sexual predators who share your living spaces and sexually harass you and all your friends.
Students like Vice President of Students Against Sexual Assault, Bridget Zinsinski, express how the university policies are problematic.
Plagiarism, you can get expelled. With committing a sexual crime, you can only be dismissed for a maximum of 2 years, which is not safe for survivors. And given that rape is a felony, it's very problematic.
Other students like Sudashana Rao explains why supporters are just as important as survivors.
SAS is open to everybody. I mean, supporters and survivors, because supporters are a necessary part of the conversation as well. They can definitely use their voice as well to uplift survivors.
I've come here tonight to tell you this. Tell you that I have become a victim of rape, and in doing so, found myself transformed into a statistic. Victim number 200,781. Where my name used to be, there is now a number
Uplifting supporters by being a voice is exactly what student supporter Ebony Bradley feels proud to do.
Just reading it, I tried to give the emotions. I feel like the person who wrote it, they really needed those emotions, those words to be spoken. And sometimes people who are survivors of sexual assault, they're not able to give those emotions because of all the traumatic things that come up afterwards. So sometimes they need someone to speak for them.
In Champaign, I'm Kelly Walker, UI7 News.
Illinois Democrats are calling for an independent investigation of House Speaker Michael Madigan's political and state operations. Within 1 week, 2 workers have been dismissed for misconduct. There's also been discussion over how Madigan has handled complaints of sexual assault, harassment, and inappropriate behavior. Madigan has been the House Speaker for years and is also the chairman of Democratic Party of Illinois.
House GOP leader Jim Durkin's seat is in question in this upcoming primary. He's being widely criticized for not stopping the income tax hike that ended a lengthy state budget stalemate. Ken Duncan is the Chicago Democrat that has his eyes on that seat. He lost the seat to Jim Durkin when he sided with Governor Bruce Rauner on certain issues.
Survivors of the 1997 Jerusalem suicide bombing wanted to seize Persian artifacts at the Chicago Museum. The artifacts were going to be used to help pay $71.5 million default judgment against Iran. However, the Supreme Court ruled 8-0 against the U.S. victims. The artifacts in question were loaned by Iran to the University of Chicago's Oriental Institute more than 80 years ago. Coming up, Emily has the weather report and hopefully some warmer weather.
And Ryan Wilson will join us after the sports.
Listen, I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you judge me for having a problem. No one is going to know that I need help. I need help. I know that no one is going to judge me for having a problem. I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you listen.
Did you hear about the pony with a sore throat? He was a little horse. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why couldn't the Why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Where did cats go on vacation? New York.
Champaign-Urbana is our campus.
Full of different interests, talents, and ideas.
And that's why Good Morning Illini was created, to share those stories and things you care most about.
Learning more about this place we call home, and now we want to hear from you, Illini.
Share your ideas with us on Facebook.
And follow our stories on Instagram.
And of course, subscribe to our YouTube page where you can always see GMI live streaming Fridays at 9 a.m. Good morning, Illini.
Good evening, Champaign-Urbana.
There's been more rain in the last 4 days than we have had in the last 4 months. Emma will have more information on that rain and if it will continue in the next few days.
Good evening, Champaign-Urbana. It has been raining and really windy lately, so the rain that we received in the past 4 days is actually more than what we received in the past 4 months. We have more than 5 inches of rain in the past 4 days. Also, the temperatures has been going up and down a little bit. So on Tuesday, we have 65 degrees, and today we have 43. So you can see that fluctuation. And for tomorrow, it's going to be a little bit colder. So now let's take a look at the local temperature. Currently in Champaign-Urbana, we were at 43 degrees, and it's pretty much the same in the area around the low 40s, with Ventura sitting at 45 and Mattoon Charleston at 44. And you can see up in Peoria, which it has the lowest temperature around the area, it is at 39 degrees. Going into our Midwest temperature, up in the Windy City in Chicago, it is at 39 degrees. And down in the south, it is a little bit warmer in Pachuca. It is at 49 and 48 in Louisville. But you do want to watch out in Des Moines. It is below freezing at 29 degrees, so stay warm up there.
For our national temperatures on our East Coast, Boston is sitting at 39 degrees, New York City at 42, and it's a lot warmer in Miami at 82, so that's where you want to spend your spring break. Also, up in the West Coast, you can see Seattle at 35 and Los Angeles a little bit warmer at 57. For our tonight's weather, we're gonna experience some rain showers at a low of 42 degrees and wind coming from the southeast at 12 miles per hour. Tomorrow, unfortunately, it's gonna be a little bit cloudy with a high of 50 degrees and wind coming from west at 11 miles per hour. So, the last but not least, the 5-day forecast. On Saturday, we're gonna experience some thunderstorms and with a high of 52 degrees. So remember to bring your umbrella or just stay home instead. But luckily, we will see some sunshine starting from Sunday with a high of 47 on Sunday, a high of 52 on Monday, and 60 degrees on Tuesday.
Well, it looks like we got a rainy weekend ahead of us. Thank you very much, Emma.
And we have Ryan Wilson here with us in set to talk about UI7 sports.
Yeah, so coming up after the break, we'll be talking about the recently announced Illinois Athletics Hall of Fame class. We'll also preview tonight's basketball game and highlight the Olympics.
Everything starts out small.
Wait.
The things that hurt us, they all start from somewhere. The words we say, the things we do, they can grow into something else. What was small and innocent can become big and sometimes scary. All it takes is one comment, one picture, one video for something to catch fire. But a big problem doesn't need a big response. Not at first. Even if we don't know what to say, the eye emoji can be that first step we take. Let's all pledge to take that first small step together and change the world in a big way. I'm a witness, and so are you.
Bye-bye.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert.
Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help.
You were probably going to turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right?
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
So we were walking to school.
I started thinking about lunch. Mom packed me turkey and cheese.
She's
I really want
smart.
cheese pizza.
Sometimes her mind wanders.
We should have a sleepover.
I remember saying, Laura?
I think I heard Mom say something.
The sign says don't walk.
Sometimes it's so overwhelming.
I really hope she doesn't
I
have
really
another
hope I
bad
don't
day
have another
at
bad day at
today.
school today.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. Go to understood.org, a free online resource with support and tools to help your child thrive.
The University of Illinois announced the newest Illini to be added to its Athletics Hall of Fame. Olympians, national champions, coaches, and record holders from 12 different sports make up the 21 Illini named into the class of 2018. Highlighting the list are Lou Henson, Kevin Anderson, Dave Downey, and current Illinois coach Justin Spring.
Meeting my wife and raising a family, it's all, Illinois has given me so much, and so to kind of turn it on the head and think of what I've, I guess, given to Illinois and my tenure here as an athlete and coach is not something I think about often, because I'm just forever grateful for the opportunities that the university has given me.
The Hall of Fame induction ceremony will take place September 22nd at the State Farm Center. Tickets are available through the Office of Athletic Development. The Illinois men's basketball team will host the Purdue Boilermakers tonight in the final home game of the season. With only 2 games remaining in the regular season, the Illini are fresh off a win against Nebraska on Sunday and a big loss to the top-ranked Michigan State Spartans on Tuesday. The Illini are currently paired with Iowa in the 12 or 13 game in the Big Ten tournament. Facing a number 9 ranked Purdue, Illinois' chances are sparse, but the Boilermakers have one win in their last 4 games. Illinois has not defeated Purdue since pulling off a huge upset 2 years ago behind 30 points from Malcolm Hill. Tip starts at 6 on Fox Sports 1. The Illinois men's gymnastics teams will be back in Huff Hall for senior night this Saturday as they welcome number 8 Michigan. In Olympic news, American 18-year-old Nathan Chin became the first man to land 6 quads, giving him a record score of 215.08 during the men's free skate program. Czech snowboarder Ester Legdeka shocks the world by winning gold by 0.01 seconds, after another contender was already declared the race winner. Team USA's Nick Goper took second place in men's free ski. This silver medal makes Goper the first U.S. male to win 2 medals in freestyle skiing in Winter Olympic history. Norway leads the way with a total of 35 medals, Germany with 25, Canada with 24, and leaving USA close behind with a total of 21 Olympic medals thus far. However, the 2018 Olympics will soon come to a close, officially ending on Sunday, February 25th. Sure, of course, in all of these sports topics, I can't forget to talk about some women's hockey.
How exciting.
Yeah, the USA came away with a big win this morning, actually, at 1 a.m. against Canada. First win for the U.S. since 1998 on a shootout. So exciting. Now time to get some rest.
That's awesome. I mean, yeah, congratulations to them, and congratulations to beating Canada. Thank goodness.
Indeed. And if you've been enjoying the Olympics these past 2 weeks, you might be sad to see them end this weekend. Ivanka Trump, the first daughter, is leading the presidential delegation for Sunday's night's closing ceremony. She expected to be on her way to South Korea today and is planning to have dinner with the South Korean president.
So Ivanka Trump taking the Olympics. That's an interesting twist.
Strange, yeah. I would expect Melania or President himself to actually go, so it's kind of a strange turn of events to have the first daughter to go.
Yeah. What event is everyone looking forward to the most coming up at the Olympics?
Ooh.
I have no idea. I mean, I could use some more hockey.
More hockey?
That's pretty exciting.
Have to wait 4 years for that.
Darn
What?
it. That's a long time. But you know, I think it's good that Ivanka's going there to rep the country a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, she's a fashion icon, so she's gonna show off some of her dresses.
Very true.
Which is pretty exciting for the fashion world. Yeah. So let's see. What other? Okay, so the Illini basketball game tonight. Purdue is number 9.
Mm-hmm.
They are highly ranked. They're a really good team this year.
Ryan, how do you think they stack up?
Against Illinois? Yeah, not too great. I predict Illinois will probably lose.
Oh.
Sorry. But I don't, I'm not putting any money on Illinois tonight. Putting any money on the line, exactly. But instead, I think Illinois will put up a challenge in their last home game. One more game left. We'll see how they match up in their last game of the season before the Big Ten tournament.
Wow. Well, that's a wrap that wraps up tonight's edition of UI7 News. Thank you for joining us.
We'll be back next Thursday with another edition of UI7 News.
Good night.